Okay, Zahavi here, just giving an update on how the Potion Felony project is going for the Pirate Software Game Jam number 15. We have three tracks to work with: our shop track, our main title theme track slash game over, and then we have one for the main gameplay loop, being mix and match, probably my favorite. Let's give a little sneak peek right here. It's a whole thing. I'm super excited to show it off to you guys, but I don't want to play the whole thing here for sake of surprise later. But to summarize the rest of what we've been doing, customers can come in, they'll move along on the conveyor belt, and we can place items on the stand that are relevant to their requests, with a reputation increase if we do good, decrease if bad, and either way they will pay the appropriate resources. You want an apple? I don't know anything about this, but I could drag it on here, a little grocery bag pops up there, we could sell it to her. We did good, apparently, so we know that that worked out. Also, if we wanted to test things out, we could drag these things over to an experiment. So let's see if twigs are safe for rabbits to eat before we give this to a random customer, yeah? And then we'll get a reaction whether he enjoyed it or not. I ignore the shop for now. We're trying to make a end of week screen, and I'm messing with the settings on that. But to go through it again, customers also have dialogue options that you can interact with depending on the customer. So if you don't want to serve this guy, for example, I don't have anything lethal, I don't think, at the moment for helping him hunt, so I just say, hey, I can't help you, and he moves along. And maybe there'll be a special interaction with that. Maybe some people really don't like it when you ask them to show, but some people will be okay with it. And you can also deny her for the same reason. Oh, sorry, don't have any food right now. Get along. But for you, I'm thinking we'll make something. We can also... Oh, I'm going to increase that timer, actually, if I could go over to the game manager. Currently, it's 30 seconds to the end of the week, but obviously that's not enough time for me to demonstrate, so I'm going to bump it up to 2 minutes. So... to actually demonstrate, we can make potions in advance. We can drag ingredients into a crafting station like this. Anywhere on here is fine. It'll register, it'll add it to the pot, and then you can drag the collect tool over there to add a new potion to your inventory. You might not know what the ingredients do, but you do know what the final potion is. Magic level 4, double magic. Perfect. And also, there's one more interaction you get of NPCs where you can buy things from them. Like this, of course. And I could also sell back junk to this guy that I don't want. So it looks like I haven't been seeding these things in a particular way right now. So it just is picking from a pool of 3 guests currently. But all the same, it still works. I would like to, for example, take this apple I don't know anything about, brew it into something, and collect. I could probably limit that to only 2 things, but I digress. Okay, it's mana, it's magic. Do bunnies like that? He ate it. I guess that was a bit of a waste. I now know that it's safe for them to eat magical stuff, but I actually don't know much more than that. Let's brew this together, collect. It is Earthy 2, Magic 4. Do bunnies like that? It looks like, because he didn't respond to magic earlier, but he did respond to that earthy stuff. Rabbits probably like earthy foods. Perfect. Get out of here. I should probably have a skip option for this guy. And then you get in here, and I think, okay, I'm going to brew you up something mighty. I could probably give you blue apple. That's probably the reason it's like that, because I know that the twig is boring, cheap, earthy, and bitter, so I could probably just give you a twig and that'll be fine. But let's see what else we can get from here. It is cheap and magic, and we get... doink. Sweet and magic. Okay, he probably likes something sweet. Put it on over here. Oh, I missed. And end of day. Shucks. All right, whatever. That's enough gameplay to showcase it. The reputation will go up or down based on whether you give them something that actually helps or not. So that is the last thing that I could showcase. The sus meter is here, but I just haven't actually made it do anything. And while the customers are rolling in, I do want to say that we have a large variety of NPCs here. Spooky has been going to town on this cozy, sort of cool color palette that complements the dungeon backgrounds and other things. And I'm super excited to plug in all these new UI elements that we have. If I go into our UI folder, actually, into our sprites here, we do have some good backgrounds as well. in our interactables, this is our experiments and furniture and other things that we're going to be working with. And then we're also going to have our actual item icons, of which there'll be a good variety of ingredients for you to mess with. And then our UI icons for inventory panels and slots and buttons and all sorts of other things. So, with all that in mind, let's try to help this lady here take this twig. I know that rabbits like twigs, and twig is what I know. So, the reputation goes up, and I can actually go into our game manager, and we get an appropriate amount of gold based on our performance as well. Oh, it might not be in game manager. It might be in the... I'm actually not sure where I put this. Huh. Well, I know the gold is being tracked somewhere. It might be in stats. Yep, there it is. Reputation 91.6 and a gold of 66.7. And when I buy things, of course, that goes down. But I just gave ourselves a lot of gold so I can experiment with that. So, that in mind, that is a summary of what we could do. We could now combine ingredients together to make stuff, to figure out stuff about them. We could also drag over ingredients to our experiments for a proportionate reaction to figure out some other stuff. And we're also going to have, these other tools aren't working yet, but we're going to have a game state change, the guest cleanup, the bags on there. If there's any bags there, they get refunded to you. As a shop rolls down, a new scene comes up and other stuff, which is what I'm going to be working on right now. So to summarize, we've done music, we can sell things to customers, we have our dialogue manager, of course, and our options to interact with them, a reputation and inventory tracking internally, and we have our experiments, brew, the weekend game states. We've also implemented a lot of fonts. They are using the OFL, the Open Font License, for commercialization. Basically, just don't sell the font by themselves, and they're good. All from Google Fonts. Very useful resource if you ever want a good chunk of fonts to start your project with. And we've also got the tooltips, of course, which will... that took a lot of fiddling around with, but it doesn't matter if it's an actual game object or a UI element. If it has something to say, it'll tell you. You don't know anything about this, you do know stuff about this, or checking on the rabbit's condition here and other things. So that'll be useful for a large assortment of stuff. Also, I made sure the tooltip doesn't escape the boundaries. It'll try to hover to the top and right of your mouse, but it's never going to get in your way, and it's never going to float off screen. And it fades fast enough for you to swap between things like that. So, with all of that done and over with, today's plan and tomorrow's is to get actual upgrades, the end-of-week report, just padding out the end-of-week screen and being able to transition to a game over screen if your reputation is too low. And then it's going to be randomly generating the properties of ingredients, so they're different through every run, with some exceptions like twig here, which will always be the same boring, cheap, earthy, bitter, horrible failure of a twig. But besides that, we are going to add a large amount of the NPCs, content, and start fitting in the icons in these last 2 days. So it's just a lot of visual polish and a lot of content, hopefully. If we can squeeze in events and laws, as I want to sort of challenge the player to work and sell under certain conditions, then I would love to do that. But if we don't get it in time, that's okay. We still have a step above a classic restaurant-style game, is we are able to mix and match things, and there is the core gameplay element of finding out things, the mystery of what kind of potion you're going to be making. Thank you for listening. This is our second devlog.